Mountain West, and certainly no surprise that Wyoming has continued to, or has developed this season and is having the success they're having. And that starts with those coaches on that staff. It starts with a formula they've had, and certainly that's showing up right now. So what an awesome contest we're going to have on Saturday in Wyoming. And you know, one of the players that, not one of the players, two of the players, Josh Allen, their quarterback, this guy's thrown for almost 1,400 yards. He's got almost 300 yards rushing. Kid can spin it, does a good job in their offense, will run when he needs to, and can take advantage of throwing the football on the outside because they got Brian Hill inside running the football. And you've got to obviously, this Brian Hill was a true freshman. We got a chance to see him play, and he has developed, and he has gotten better, and he understands their schemes, and their O-line has improved. And they are running the football, and they are doing it effectively, and you know exactly what they want to do. And certainly they've done a good job of that. I thought number 21, Sean Wick, too. Watched him play in the Nevada game. That guy's pretty good. So it's not just a one-man show. They got a quarterback that can run. They got Brian Hill who can run, and they got another guy back there that's also making plays. And certainly out in the perimeter, Tanner Gentry. That kid can do some really special things, and you got to know where those guys are at. So when you have that formula, you're doing some things on offense now where you're putting defenses in the bind. And we've got to do a great job against the run. There's no question about that. Brian Hill's number 2 in the country running the football, and we've got to do a great job against that. I don't think that anybody would say that would be a surprise by saying that by any means, and we have to find ways to slow them down. We've got to find ways to create some turnovers on the defensive side as well. Defensively, they're 3rd in rush defense in our conference. They see it every day. Wouldn't expect them to not be very good at going against the run because of the way their offense is. So I think that breeds physicality, and certainly something that we try to do as well. 28, Andrew Wingard is their leading tackler, and certainly this guy plays their boundary safety for him. He'll come down and hit you. He makes plays. He makes plays in the open space. We saw him against Nebraska. Had a one-on-one with the quarterback, and I'm talking one-on-one with a lot of space, and he makes the plays. And so this kid can do a lot of things, and he will come down there, and he will play in the box, and he will play physical. They also play coverage. They'll get into some Tampa too. We haven't seen a tremendous amount of that this year, but they get into a coverage where they put the Mike linebacker deep and the safeties deep, and the D-line, they do a very good job up front. So, you know, we've got to be prepared for those guys as well. And then number 7, DJ May, their outside linebacker. Kid's very good. We just saw an outside linebacker, number 4, last week against BYU. That guy was very good. Well, DJ's right in the ballpark there, in the way they use him and how he plays. Certainly can make plays out there on the outside, and he brings pressure off the edge. He's a guy that you got to be prepared for because of his speed. On the kick game, I think they've been solid in that area. You haven't seen too much as far as different looks in special teams or any trickery that way, but certainly fully expected. And we've got to be prepared for that. So I'm sure that the play they ran, the little toss back to the receiver, throw to the quarterback in the game, he talked about they've been practicing that for how many weeks, and teams usually do that. Well, there's probably something on special teams that we have to be prepared for. So we got to be on point when it comes to that because they can execute. I do think their kickoff return guy, DJ, we talked about before, very solid. And their punt returner, Austin Conway. This guy is elusive. This guy can make you miss. This guy will attack the return, and they will find ways to get him an opportunity to do that. So certainly coverage in this game in particular is extremely important because both these guys can go. So Wyoming is a very good football team. I like where we're at heading into this week. Every week is a new week. We take what we learn, we build from it, and we know we have a lot of things that we want to improve on as far as just our expectations of ourselves. And then we get to play at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Expect that to be a full house. and to be loud and to be an awesome environment for our kids to go play in and have a chance to go down there and compete against a very good football team. So with that, open up for questions.
You kind of mentioned, you know, guys kind of stepping up in tough situations. What to you have been most impressive about your defense this year, and what they've been able to do, despite, you know, as you've mentioned, not getting very many turnovers?
Well, some of that too. Yeah, we haven't gotten the turnovers we wanted. Not at all. We've also put our defense in some tough spots where field position, you're just trying to keep them from scoring. When you give the defense 20 yards to protect because you turn the ball over or you do something negative on special teams or offense, hey, your goal is to not let them score. Or, in my eyes too, keep them to a field goal. Let's try to keep the 7 points off the board. They've done that. And so that, to me, we've put them in some really tough situations, and they've responded in those tough situations. I think our defense has been outstanding in a lot of times where they could have folded, because there's a lot of excuses that we could have made. They just came off the field and they're right back on. And those guys, the one thing, they don't flinch when those moments come up. It's because you have leaders like Sam McCaskill, you got Tanner Vallejos out there, you got Ben Weavers out there, and there's guys out there where it's like, hey, this is what we trained for. And they embrace those moments, and I think that's where the toughness of this football team comes from. Now, yes, we want to put ourselves now, hopefully offensively, in some of those situations too by creating turnovers. That will come. It's going to come because we're going to continue to keep preparing to do that every single week. And we're going to eliminate the 5 turnovers that the special teams and offense is putting our defense in as well. And so we're hoping that we have that in return. And just think about the opportunities if we were flipped the other direction, if we could have 11 more tries on the offensive side to go out there and score. We feel like we'd have a pretty good shot at putting some more points on the board.
In your opening statement there, it kind of sounded like you're challenging the team a little bit. I mean, you're 7-0, but obviously a lot of areas in all phases to still improve. I guess, how is that accurate? Are you kind of challenging them at this point? And how do you, what is it like? You're 7-0, but you do have so many areas like you feel like you could get better. I mean, I know the record doesn't always tell the story. You're happy at 7-0, but obviously still a lot of areas to improve.
Yeah, no, I'm challenging, and I'm challenging all of us. And I don't think it would change regardless right now of our record. I think that's just the expectations. You set out an expectation before the season ever starts, before you ever play a snap, of these are the things we're going to focus on. And the one thing I want to make sure of, that regardless of the record, there's unacceptables even when you win. And you can't just say, okay, we won, and then all of a sudden that doesn't matter. Then if you lose a game, all of a sudden it becomes really, really important. Turnovers have always been important, win or lose. It's always been important. Our consistency on the offensive side, trying to be special on special teams, has always been important. That's been important here for a long time. That hasn't changed. So no, it's a reality. It's a reality, and it's something that I think we know. You can see it. It needs to be worked on. It needs to get much improved. And to me, it's only a problem if nobody sees it as a problem. And I'm talking about the guys that are coaching and playing. If nobody sees it as a problem, then we have a problem. If everybody just says that's exactly what we have to work on and they accept it, which we all have, then I think we're moving in the right direction. And those are challenges that we'll have, and we have had, and we've talked about, and we talked about every week, and we'll talk about as we go forward too, no matter what the record is.
With you guys, your downfield passing game this year has been pretty effective. I know that's one thing that Brett said. He wanted to throw a better deep ball and stuff this year. And if you look at the numbers, I mean, he's already almost completed as many passes of 30 yards or more as he did all of last season. So from him to the guys that are catching these passes, curious why it's clicked so well, I guess.
Yeah, well, that is